last night, the Browns finally, after Roger Goodell facing the fury of thousands of Missourians on the Kansas border as well, and after endless amounts of endless speeches from guest draft pick specialists, we have finally got to determine who will be the first 2 draft picks that the Cleveland Browns will select for the future of their organization, and we got some answers last night. Starting with the 74th overall pick in the 3rd round, this was the pick that the Browns received in the Elijah Moore trade. They draft Cedric Tillman, wide receiver out of Tennessee. Should be a good target for 50-50 balls. He is listed as 6'3" on the Google machine, and that's what they tell me anyway. Now, the New York Giants did trade up 1 spot ahead of them to draft Jalen Hyatt 1 spot before. Maybe that's who the Browns were going to be going for, but maybe they were going with Cedric Tillman all the way. I don't think that's something that the Browns front office is going to be disclosing anytime soon. So one of the red flags on him is that he was injured for 7 games last season with an ankle, so he's already coming in with a bit of an injury-prone tag on him. However, I do feel like it is a bit, it's a bit. I don't know. I don't want to say silly because this definitely is a concern, but I feel like it is a little pointless to constantly fret and worry over who's going to be injured and who isn't when it comes to trying to predict the future of your players, because if you just predict that your players are going to be injured, then more than likely you're bound to be right eventually, because it's football. Injuries happen to everyone. That's just something you have to play by ear. He has had very good and very encouraging performances against the top SEC teams and the top SEC defenses. Very impressive performances in 2021 against both Georgia and Alabama. So we've seen him step up his game against tougher opponents and not just, some of the cupcakes in the college football schedule where you're playing FCS teams. He has stepped up and shown that he can ball out against some of his conference's toughest opponents. So that's nice to see. Moving on to the number 98th overall pick, a compensatory pick that the Browns got at the end of the 3rd round. Siyani Ika, I believe I'm saying that correctly, although if I'm not, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. I'm definitely not above any of that. He is a defensive tackle from Baylor, listed at 6'4", 357 pounds. Size definitely being a theme so far for the Browns in this draft. They're also drafting similar positions where they were aggressive in free agency. The Browns picking up a few wide receivers off the free agent market and through trades with Elijah Moore mentioned earlier. They've also got Marquise Goodman, and now with the Cedric Tillman pick. Now they also got Dalvin Tomlinson in the free agency market, and now they're drafting this defensive tackle from Baylor here within Ika. And this is something that the Browns are going to have to find. They're going to have to find someone to play alongside Dalvin Tomlinson in this wide 9 defense that Jim Schwartz is trying to implement. Jim Schwartz did seem happy with the pick in the draft room. You could see him smiling and shaking hands with the front office. He definitely seemed very happy about the pick. So that's an encouraging sign when your defensive coordinator is seemingly giving the thumbs up on the pick. However, nothing is a sure bet, obviously, especially when you're drafting late in the 3rd round, when it's usually common knowledge that most of these surefire can't miss guys have already long gone. The Browns just haven't really seemed to be able to get their defensive tackles to work outside of hopefully this free agency signing with Dalvin Tomlinson from the Vikings this offseason. But last year and the years before, the interior of the defensive line has been a bit of an issue. And we wonder, because of his size, how much of that he was able to lean on against some of the lesser matchups that he would gotten in the college football schedule, where in the NFL, while if he's able to utilize this size in smart ways to his advantage, the sheer amount of mass that he does have could be a bit of an issue. But in the NFL, everyone's used to dealing with huge hulking human people, because that's what that's what the trenches are for. That's for dealing with guys that are as big as these guys, and these offensive linemen are going to be tailor-made for that. So it'll be interesting to see how these 2 picks development work out. I would not be surprised to see the Browns take at least one or maybe even more of both wide receiver and defensive tackle in day 3 of the draft, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to there. I know there's been a lot of crazy draft stuff happening, not just involving the draft, but with the Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson deals, and I will get to that eventually. However, not only is this finals week upcoming for me, it is also turn everything in that is due right before the final exams. So it is very early. I'm pretty tired. Me and the bean juice have become good friends as of late. So thank you all for bearing with me as the upload consistency hasn't quite been where I want it. I hope to get that back up in a couple weeks time. But thank you all for watching this video. If you made it this far into it, I will see you at the next one.